Hello, everyone, and welcome to Overtime. My name is Nicholas Lamar Soutter. We have let's see here, the Joint Base in San Antonio, the Joint Base Lackland in San Antonio, Texas, is currently on lockdown. They have what is purported to be two active shooters in the area. It appears as if at least two shots were fired. There's now some confusion as to whether or not there are simply two shooters or whether it was, let's see, two shots fired or two active shooters. The coming out of Joint Base San Antonio, they issued an active shooter warning about 2 hours ago, put the entire base on lockdown. Most of the base is now actually released from lockdown, but they're still looking for at least one active shooter, maybe two. This is the same airbase that 2 years ago had an odd incident that, to the best of my knowledge, was never explained. It was two airmen died in what was called by military officials, quote, a workplace violence incident. They are now on lockdown for, let's see. They've been, well, no, as I said, it looks like they just had a spokesman come out and speak. He is now gone. If he comes back, we will try to get you get you what he said. I apologize. We're trying to I'm trying to collate several pieces of information at a time here as we're looking at. Let's see. I'm gonna put the audio up on this thing and let's see what if anything is being said. Oh, looks like they're just setting up their mics. Oh, no, and the live feed is down. So this was a feed actually from, I think it was from the airbase itself, and they just had on someone to discuss it. They are saying now that they're apparently they're wrapping it up, but they don't have anyone in custody. At first they had said two shooters and issued a lockdown saying, quote, real world lockdown, active shooter lockdown on LAK, all base personnel to implement lockdown immediately. And just a short time ago, they started releasing the lockdown. But I don't. This may be winding down. We were a little behind. This came into Bregwin posted this in our breaking news more than 45 minutes ago, but we weren't able to get to it till just now. But it does look like it may be winding down. Now, it turns out that you actually, not everybody on an airbase can carry a gun at all times. In fact, you're not allowed to, as I understand it, you're not allowed to actually carry your sidearm on the base most of the time. Only officers, like military police, are allowed to carry their sidearms with them at all times. So this has already been framed as another good reason for Second Amendment rights and for extending the new anticipated laws in which I believe, if I recall correctly, you can actually carry, you don't even need a license for concealed carry. Somebody may need to correct me on that. But they've certainly loosened up their Second Amendment restrictions, and they're now talking about making sure that those the new looser rules apply to air bases, so that they can defend themselves against active shooters. I kind of go the other way on this, which is if you can't defend yourself from an active shooter on an airbase without arming absolutely everybody, I'm not sure that the problem is, or that the answer to the problem is giving everybody more guns. But my position on that is reasonably clear. I also apologize. I can't see the live chat right now, but I'm going to be connecting to it in just a minute. So if anybody's been saying anything, there you go. There we go. All right, perfect. So All right, and right now, again, we have this. Nobody is speaking right now. So I think it may just be a hurry up and wait kind of thing. I will say that they came out just a short while ago and were asked specifically point blank, okay, the initial report was 2 shooters. Now the report appears to be 2 shots were fired. Is it 2 shooters or 2 shots or both or what the deal is? And they were unable to clarify on that. But at this moment, it looks to me like they're falling back to the position of 1 shooter. Most of the base is now off of lockdown. This is the same base where several years ago, 2 airmen were killed in what was called by the military a, quote, workplace violence incident. This will be investigated. If it was on the base, this will be investigated by the military police and their own investigators, not by civilian investigators in Texas. Again, this is already being used as a reason why the Second Amendment laws should be loosened up so that these airmen could have better defended themselves, because they're not actually allowed to carry weapons unless they're military police. They're not allowed to carry their sidearms with them just wandering around the base. So I think this demonstrates really the opposite, which is if you're not safe on a base without arming absolutely everybody, then maybe the problem is we have to get the guns away from the people who are committing these shootings. At any rate, like I said, right now it does look like this is winding down all but a small area outside of one of the gates. I think it's the southern gate has been released from the lockdown, and they just came out and they seem to be downplaying now the level of the incident, so much so that a reporter said, well, did you guys maybe overreact to what maybe was just even an accidental discharge? And they said, no, better to err on the side of caution, with which I agree. But this clearly, the entire base has been on lockdown, and ostensibly there were 2 active shooters, and now it's appearing as if only 1 shooter and possibly even an accidental discharge. So twice, I don't know, but there are no injuries. So and it doesn't even look like they're actively looking for someone. They didn't deny that they are, but it kind of doesn't look that way. So we honestly don't have anything more. I'm going to try in a minute to see if I can get more information, but we honestly don't have more. While I've got everyone here, and let's see. That's the all right, perfect. While we've got you, if if you want to like and subscribe, that always does help the show, and we certainly appreciate it. It makes it easier for it helps us out with the ratings and makes it easier for us to do what we do, and hopefully you find it of value. I will say this, that right now, originally this was really reported to be quite serious and basically a kind of an all points bulletin, I guess, the equivalent. They released a statement saying that there was at least 1 active shooter on the base, and yeah, okay, maybe 2, and then it actually seems to, it's been several hours and we haven't gotten much information, but the last public relations person to speak on behalf of the base seems to be downplaying whatever has happened there. Now, I will say this again, if it happened on the base, they're going to have their own investigators, and we still, to the best of my knowledge, don't actually know what killed the 2 airmen. Again, I think it was 2 years ago. It was just considered a workplace violence incident. Nobody knows anything more than that. Randy, welcome. Honestly, there isn't much to say right now. About 2 hours ago, there was a alert on Twitter, for the Twitter feed of the Joint Air Base in San Antonio, Texas, where they said that there was an active shooter and ordered the entire base on lockdown. The reports then came out that it was in fact 2 active shooters and that they were trying to find these shooters. In the latest official statement, they have said that they believe now that 2 shots were fired and may even have been fired off of the base into the base or near the base. And so there's some confusion as to whether it was 2 people firing 2 shots and 1 person. Nobody knows, but they appear to be walking back the severity of this incident. Okay, so and Bregwin is saying here speculation that 1 to 2 shooters shot towards drilling soldiers from outside the gate. So it looks like it was from outside. I believe it was the southern gate, somebody firing maybe 2 shots in. And the people that they're looking for now are ostensibly not on the military base. Most of the military base has been lifted from the lockdown. And emergency personnel from the base have been trying to find these people. I honestly don't know what happens. It's a good question. If it was fired from off the base, who is in charge of the investigation? Is it the civilian authorities in Texas, or is it the military personnel on the base? I think that's a very good question. And again, I ask that because this is the second time in I think 2 years that this base has had an issue. The first time 2 airmen were dead, and all anyone seems to know about that I'm aware of is that it was a, quote, workplace violence incident. So, and that was investigated by the military police. So I don't know. I don't think anybody at this point knows. It does look to me like whatever this is winding down rapidly, and if it's investigated by the military police, we will know only what they choose to tell us. So if the shooting really occurred off the base, which I suspect it did at this point, okay, Valley Highgate, that's, okay, thank you, Bregwin. So if the shots came off outside the gate, that's a good legal question. Is it the government? Is it the civilian authorities, or is it the military investigators who are going to investigate this? I honestly don't know. That'll be important to our understanding of it. What I do know, and this is interesting, is this took 3 minutes. I followed the Twitter stream of the original tweet that came out saying that they were on lockdown, and 5 of the first 8 or 9 tweets were about gun control. Most notably that this is evidence of why Texas needs to continue on its path of reducing gun legislation and reducing restrictions on the Second Amendment. On the grounds that most airmen aren't actually allowed to carry their sidearms with them. They don't carry them as they're walking along the bases. They're not supposed to. And presumably, there's legislation that would either allow them to do that, or perhaps they should be included in the current legislation that's going through on Texas. On the grounds that this would help them protect themselves. If you need more protection while you're on a U.S. military base, I don't think we're understanding the problem correctly. And I don't think arming the soldiers more is going to solve the problem. They're on a fucking military base with real guards, trained killers all around, and they need to be able to protect themselves? No, we're missing the point. We're missing the actual argument on this. Nonetheless, it's already started, and we'll have to see. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so they're working with SAPD to search. It's the GBSA, emergency responders, and the PD, which means somebody's going to have to decide who's got jurisdiction here. But isn't uncivil law a Texan? Yeah, he actually could. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I could send him a message and ask on civil law who's got jurisdiction. I don't know that I want to bother him, especially during I mean, this isn't. Yeah, I'm curious to know if this weren't winding down, I'd do it. If it looked like we were going to be streaming for another couple hours, but honestly, this is probably winding down. This stream should have started probably 45 minutes ago. That's my bad. I was unavailable. But it's it does look like the entire situation is winding down, and the press officer who came out to discuss the issue really kind of rolled back the severity of this and suggested that it wasn't as severe as people had believed. Whether that's because that's the case or I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm a little suspicious only because the last shooting that happened here, or the last two airmen who died, there was no clarity as to what happened. So nobody's died here, nobody's injured. So I don't know how big a deal it is, but somebody taking two shots into the air base to try to ostensibly try to kill people who are training. That's obviously a pretty serious deal. So, yep, it looks like. All right, so it looks like we don't have any more of. Let me close that out. Yeah, we don't need to. Listen, I appreciate fighting cancer and all that other stuff, but so they've closed the stream, so I'm not expecting any more material coming from them anytime in the near future here. So let's yeah, let me just see. Nope. Okay. Close that. There we go. All right, so what do we know? Not a whole heck of a lot. About 2 hours ago, the Joint Air Base in San Antonio, Texas, issued a lockdown saying that there was an active shooter, suggesting at least that there was an active shooter on site, but certainly that there was an active shooter. We were told then, shortly thereafter, that they were actually looking for two suspects and that there were no injuries. As of this moment, it looks like it's one or two. There's no clarity as to how many they're actually looking for. It looks like they were off-site and shot through a gate on-site at training soldiers, and that only two shots were fired. Right now, we have the local police department and the military police out looking for the suspected shooter. No word yet on finding him, but whereas it appears that there might be kind of a threat to the local community, I suppose, but I don't think he's targeting them. And my suspicion is whoever this person is right now is just trying to hide. If it turns out that there's any kind of standoff or any issue with apprehending whoever is responsible for this, we'll probably broadcast again. But until then, I think that we've covered about all we can. It looks like most of the lockdown has been lifted. So I think I'm gonna wrap up in the live chat and see if anybody has anything to say, and then I think we'll call that an evening. So I do apologize. It was labeled as sort of a very big deal, and the military was telling us it was a big deal, and it's all been kind of walked back, which, to be fair, is the better solution. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like nobody was injured, and it sounds like it wasn't somebody on the base just going around shooting everybody. So with any luck, whoever this was will be apprehended without any further violence, and barring any situation, I don't see a reason to go live again. I do appreciate those of you, especially those of you who came over from In Time. This is still In Time. It's just rather than doing overtime on the In Time channel, which I kind of like doing it on the channel. It keeps all our content in one place. The reality is there are people who are interested in one or the other. Plenty of people interested in both, but that's why you sub to both. if you only want one or the other, best to separate the channels out. So I appreciate those of you who came over here, and if you can help us try to grow this and start this channel so that it's monetized and hopefully reasonably close up to where In Time is, that would be a big help. And like and subscribe also always helps. So thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for your support. I'll be in the Discord in a few minutes, and if anybody has any information they want to share or talk about this incident or anything else, join us in the Discord. But until then, like I said, I think I haven't seen anything else in the live chat that bears. Let me just quickly just do one more check and see if anything else has come up, but it looks like this is really about... yeah. All right. The only other. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. So, oh dear Lord. Nope. Okay, good. We're good. And please just sit there while I talk to myself. All right. Yeah, I may talk to uncivil law. It's actually been a while since we have had uncivil law on, so we'll that may not be a bad idea. Anyways, thank you all for joining us, and like I said, I'll be in the Discord in a little bit if you guys want to check it out. In the meantime, have yourselves a good evening, and we look forward to catching up with you guys. I'm hoping we're going to be starting our regularly scheduled in time after party or after dark hangs on Friday. Maybe bring Neil back, but certainly come on in and have a good time with us then. And then our show on anti-theism and not anti-theism. Oh dear Lord. Post-theism and Christian atheism. There's a handful. Will be on Tuesday. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll be catching up with you soon.